The opening event of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Game Atlantic Regional, the Triple Three. First saw this back in 2014 at the CrossFit Games in Carson, California. And we've done a lot of comparison between that event and this event, and they are similar as far as the distance that needs to be completed, but it is a much different test when you run indoors on the Air Runner.
I'll tell you what, I am already enjoying the fact that it's so nice and cool in here. It's humid and hot outside, so that right there alone sets these two, how it was back then in 2014 versus now.
Sarah Scholl and Melissa Dahl with their chest pieces out front. They are your leaders. Amanda Krenz is on the competition floor, and she is with someone who knows a whole lot about running. Amanda?
This is Severin Romanov, and you are analyzing this competition, the whole competition, through a running prism. What does that mean exactly?
Well, when we view this triplet through the prism of running, what we start to see is, for us, we view it as a 5.5 mile run at about a 6.5 minute per mile pace. So when we look at, let's start with rowing. We have the 3,000 meter row, and for us that's approximately a 2 mile run within 10 or 12 minutes. Then we move on to the double unders. We have 300 double unders. When you think about it, it's the intensity of a 100 meter run. You take 50 steps in a 100 meter run, so we multiply that by 6. So we have approximately, the double unders are the equivalent of 600 to 800 meters all out. So that's how we look at it from a running perspective. And then obviously you put those two together and then you start running thereafter. The good thing is you have the full body warm up with the row. Then you have the elastic component that the double unders ask you to perform. And then you move on to running. And obviously everyone knows the challenges of running 3 miles.
What are some of your observations after watching these athletes do this event?
Well, so the main thing that we see is that most of the athletes have a cadence that's too slow. And so when we work with the U.S. military and CrossFit the last 10 years, what we teach them at our SME course is that we need a cadence of about 180 or above. Most of the athletes are in the 140 to 150 range, and that's simply not fast enough. We need them to have a faster cadence, and the main observation is also followed up by not running with the legs. So you'll see a lot of scissoring movements on the air runner, and what we want to see is more leading with the body. So we want to get into the runner's position. We want to fall from that position by leading with our hips and our upper body, and then we want our legs to follow. So you'll see a much more compact movement with a shorter stride, and that's ideally what we want. You'll have less fatigue, more muscle tendon elasticity, and hopefully you'll be able to hit the next events much, much better.
So what advice would you give to these CrossFit athletes as you've watched them through this event to do better at that?
Well, besides pacing and breaking up the double unders and not killing yourself on those, I would say simply pace yourself during the run and definitely get your cadence up, because while it may seem like you're running at a faster level, if you don't bend at the waist, if you simply lead with your hips, you're able to be much more compact, and that's actually more efficient, and you'll get the job done much, much faster.
Severin, thank you.
Thank you.